Coming in the spring of 2020 and to Madison, Alabama, we bring you your Rocket City Trash Pandas. That's right. Hello, cult members. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And that's right. We're getting a baseball team called the Rocket City Trash Pandas. I'm looking for jerseys already.
That's amazing. It's amazing that a professional sports group has a sense of humor.
It's like single A baseball. It's not much higher than high school baseball, but
NFL doesn't have a sense of humor anymore.
No, they don't. It's a whole nother podcast. We may do another pop culture cult discussion on the NFL at some point in time. God, football sucked this year. Hi. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. We actually talk movies and stuff here. We have some stuff to go over this week. A couple of reviews of trailers and a movie that we caught up on. And we have some discussion about the Joker movie that's coming up because we got some photos.
Yep.
But before we get into that, what we ask from you guys is one simple little thing. All we ask from you is to subscribe to the channel. We're not asking you for money, not yet. And we're just hoping that you would subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications, so you're told when we're uploading new stuff, which is going to be a lot this week. And the only other thing that we really would like from you guys is, let's say you're at dinner and your mom and your dad start talking to you about Trump or Kafifi or whatever else is going on in the politics world, and you're like, I'm done with that conversation. I want to show you this. And you bring up YouTube and you show them Pop Culture Cult. That's called sharing with your friends. Please do that.
And sharing is caring.
And sharing is caring. And if it's free, I want 3.
Right.
There. We got all the plugs and everything out of the way.
Right.
Are you sure? All right. So this morning, we've talked about this the last couple of weeks, that there's been some slowish news on the movie side. We started TV Time, talk about the TV stuff, and so the big show here, which is what we call this one, we kind of talk more movies here, sometimes some Comic-Con stuff, and
right.
But we're going to talk about Netflix and what Netflix did this morning. Now, there's multiple layers to this conversation, and I'm not quite sure how to dissect all of it.
We don't know what's going on, but we're going to report it anyway.
We're going to do our best to dissect what we have learned.
Okay.
Because learning. So this morning, out of the blue, Netflix changed the name of the Defenders' social media accounts.
Right.
Mostly Facebook is where this first was kind of happening. And they turned it from Defenders to NX on Netflix.
Right.
And then we'll talk about this part first. Fanboys and girls everywhere lost their poo.
Defenders wasn't coming back, folks. They'd already announced that.
Yeah. And people are really upset that Defenders isn't coming back. Now, I really like the Defenders series.
I did too.
I like the 8 episodes. I would like to see them do it again. I'm not saying they'll never do it again.
Right. And they might, in a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, do another meetup. We've talked about that, where they do the individual series.
Kind of do it like they do the Marvel movies.
Right.
Where you have 4 or 5 or 6 different whatever standalone things.
Right.
Some of them are sequels. Then you have a meetup.
Right.
And then you have 5 or 5, 6 things, whatever
Right.
sequels. We're 3 episodes from the end of Iron Fist.
Yep.
We'll talk about that in TV Time on Saturday. But they're bringing... we've already talked about Daredevil Season 2 is coming. They're teasing us with all kinds of different things and whatever. And so...
Daredevil Season 2?
Or Season 3.
Season 3, okay.
They've been teasing us all over the internet. But trying to figure out what Netflix did this morning, most of the articles I've been coming across is everybody complaining about not getting Defenders.
Right. And missed the whole point.
Missed the whole thing. So, now we've had that discussion. Let's have this discussion. what it's called is NX, and is a rebranding of what appears to be a geek-centric location to find all the geek stuff.
Right. Sci-fi, comic book.
Ghostbusters was in the trailer. Annihilation.
Sci-fi. Yeah, it's kind of sci-fi comic book stuff.
The story that I got was from comicbook.com, and they said that the NX rebranding appears to be some sort of geek page, as they also release a promo video, which we watched. I've watched it like 4 times trying to understand what's going on. And at the end of it, they said, "Come geek out with us," is kind of the mantra or whatever. And then the end is the guy and the robots from Mystery Science Theater 3000 going, "Oh, I guess that was the end of the trailer," and get up and walk off.
Yeah.
So they're leaning heavy into the geek Comic-Con culture, is what it really feels like.
So now that I watched this, I was forced to watch this when I got home.
I think it's a big deal.
No, it totally is. But now that I've had a little bit of time to think about it, I think that what they might be trying to do is there is so much content on Netflix, and every day, like, I subscribe to their page and I rang the little bell. I get 4 or 5 notifications a day of new stuff hitting Netflix. And I think that, I mean, that's been a complaint for a long time, is that there's so much out there and it gets lost. You don't know what's there and what's not there. So I think maybe they're trying to categorize their stuff so that it's easier. I feel like watching sci-fi or comic book stuff, and so I'm going to go to this area. I feel like watching love story or drama.
They kind of did that with the kids kind of section, where they kind of cordoned off the kids stuff. Off to one side.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, they kind of do that now if you scroll down, but I don't know. It just feels like it gets...
Their search engine is very odd. Like you watched, like we watched Top Gear. So you watched Top Gear. So here is all the car-based shows.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, The Crown and the Jim Norton Show.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, so so their search engine is a little weird. Within the trailer, they showed Stranger Things and Punisher, Altered Carbon, Bright, and made a point of, like, not everybody who's heroes wears capes, and not everybody, you know, we have unique team ups and all this different things. But at the end, they started announcing different stuff that's coming to NX. Jessica Jones season 3. Okay, we're pretty sure that was coming. I haven't heard anything official. Punisher season 2. We knew that was coming. The first season was amazing.
Right.
Daredevil season 3. Like we said, they've been teasing that. The Order. I've heard nothing about The Order.
So
it was a guy in a plague mask kind of thing.
Okay. Because wasn't The Order played the Joker, died?
Heath Ledger. It was the guys from Knight's Tale.
And the girl.
And they did it was
kind of an exorcist.
Sin Eaters.
Yeah.
Sin Eaters. And that's what if they're doing The Order,
we really like that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
It is so underrated. So if that's what they're doing, I'm all over that. That kind of links into the other thing that we're going to talk about here in a minute. They also announced in their Maniac, which we talked about on TV Talk, which is coming. It's a short series. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, also TV Time. I say TV Talk. I'm just going to gloss over it. We know Stranger Things season 3 is coming. We've seen that. Transylvania 2. Black Mirror.
Yeah. That season's coming out soonish. Yep.
And then they showed The Dark Crystal, Age of the Resistance. Now, I've heard rumors, but nothing ever confirmed that they're doing The Dark Crystal. And if I remember correctly, they're doing it like the original, and it's all going to be practical puppets.
Okay.
So here's Netflix again throwing a bazillion dollars at everything and seeing what sticks at the wall.
Yeah.
Then they showed a graphic at the end with 15 other shows or movies that are coming in the future. One of them was The Witcher, which we talked about with Henry Cavill on the first episode of TV Time.
Hey.
And then we got this other thing called Apostle.
Right.
Now, I had already watched the trailer for Apostle, but then I realized they're adding it to this NX thing.
Okay.
And what I'm getting from this is a direct push against DC Universe and sci-fi for that Comic-Con geek culture center point.
Yeah.
If that's what I think what it means, I wonder if they're going to do some kind of live streaming of New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, that kind of thing, or have like DC Universe has got DC All Access kind of like show that they're going to do a daily and just talk about DC Universe stuff.
That would be very different for Netflix to do live, or I guess live streaming kind of shows.
It would be very cool if that was the direction they're going. And you have Netflix and Amazon and Hulu all kind of this way, and then you have the DC Universe, and then way off in the corner, still floating around, is the Disney streaming service.
Yeah, so that's
and YouTube still.
Yeah, it's that would be interesting because Netflix isn't set up like that, right? So if they have spent the money, if you're going to do a streaming thing or a live thing, you're going to have a bunch of people watching the same thing all at once. And that's not how they're set up today. Now, there could be all those people on Netflix at one time, but they're not all accessing the same content at once. So from a logistics standpoint, they may need to do some stuff behind the scenes to actually support that.
Well, if they're throwing this much money into their shows, they're throwing 3 times that much money into their services.
I would hope so.
Their
infrastructure and
stuff like that.
Logistics.
Yeah. So I found that very interesting that this is their. I can't think of any other way of putting it. They're going for the Comic-Con geek culture, and that's I just think it's really interesting.
Yep.
And if you think about everything that they listed, all of those people that are directly involved, either as actors or writers or whatever, all do the con circuit. And so I'm really interested, and hopefully we get something out of that. Now, one of the things they did talk about was Apostle. And Apostle is a trailer that came out this morning in conjunction with this name change announcement, kind of. They didn't release a press thing. They just, here's a trailer, and they threw it up, and here we go.
Right.
And I've already been on the app. They've already changed it on the service, so they were ready to go. So we get Apostle. It's coming out October 12th. It is written and directed by Gareth Evans, not Gareth
Edwards.
Gareth. Yeah, anyways.
Edwards.
Yeah, who did Rogue One. This is Gareth Evans, who did the Raid series.
Yeah.
And it stars Dan Stevens from Legion. Pause. We're in.
And Michael Sheehan.
I'm Michael Sheehan, who's playing the bad guy, and it is late 1800s, early 1900s. There's Ireland, maybe. They don't really kind of specify with where it is specifically. I cut it out.
Specifically.
Don't make me say it again. But it is a religious-based occult horror film.
It was a lot of things.
Right.
It was a lot of things. It seemed like to be, almost like Wicker Man.
Yeah.
But horror, way
bloody. Way
like torture.
Showing torture and stuff like that.
And but then, kind of weird, occult. It
Yeah.
was everything.
Michael Sheehan is playing the prophet of this religious cult, and they're kind of on this island away from everybody else. And Dan Stevens' character is actually going to get his sister. At least that's.
And then there was like some martial arts stuff going.
There was some fighting going on, or whatever.
With the sticks and
And so so what happened today was when I was getting ready to do show notes and going back through stuff that happened over the week and not really finding anything, I came across this trailer and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. We'll talk about another trailer that came out today, completely different trailer. And this, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And if you've watched The Big Show or TV Time, you understand that we like
weird stuff.
Not like weird, like we like the eclectic, different.
We like Legion. We like Taboo. We like The Alienist.
Right.
We like stuff that's not. We're not.
Anon.
Yeah, we're not super into the sitcom kind of.
Right. We're not into This Is Us or CSI fill in the blank here or all that. Like that's not really our kind of thing. So when I saw this, I'm like, okay, cool. But then that led into the NX stuff, which is just going to be part of that service and everything like that. And then we're watching the trailer just before we came in here, and she's like, is this a TV series? And I'm like, no, it's a movie. On a TV channel. And I'm like, okay, now we have to have this discussion. We're going to put up a poll when we get done recording. And I'll leave it up for 2 days. So if you're just watching this, I'll leave it up. I'll put it on Twitter. Maybe try to put it on Facebook.
Oh, God.
What is Netflix? Is it a TV channel or is it a studio?
So if it was a movie that you could go see in the movie theater, that would make it a studio. But it's on their TV channel. You can only see this movie by turning on your TV.
I want to point out that we're not using the word streaming service because there's something that's a different definition. It's yeah. I mean, we've moved all of the channels have moved beyond streaming service. Right.
But there's that. What was the name of that movie? I want to say Get 'Em to the Greek, and that's not it. That Amazon did that was actually in the movie theater. You went and saw it in the movie theater.
Oh, yeah. That was last year?
Yeah, earlier this year.
Gringo.
The Gringo, yeah.
Gringo was at Amazon Studios. Yeah.
Now, that's a movie because you could go see it in the movie theater, and now you can see it on Amazon afterwards.
What about the Hallmark Channel stuff? Those are movies.
On TV. It should be on TV, Todd.
You're watching our official married couple fights that we have in the house. It's so bad.
Professional sports players should not participate in the Olympics.
They should totally be in the Olympics.
No.
It's okay if you're wrong.
I know you're wrong. It's
Moving on. This is a movie discussion show.
About movies we see in the movie theater.
Sometimes. We've seen almost 40 movies this year, and 5 of them are Netflix. That counts.
Whatever.
It counts. Speaking of a movie we've seen this year, how's that for a transition?
Nice.
I've been in the Mark Ellis School of Transitions. We went and saw I swear I'm sober. White Boy Rick on Thursday night. When it was released, we went and saw it with a half-empty theater. I don't know what people are doing. They're sleeping on this movie.
Yeah, it was Thursday.
It was Thursday, and
night.
It was a super limited release. Like, the only theater near us is our normal AMC theater.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And I think there was maybe 2 other ones in town that actually had it.
And Predator came out, and so that's the popcorn movie.
And Simple Favor, which I think we're going to go see tomorrow or the day after.
Yeah.
But we did a full review. I will tag it to the end of this video. And we really liked it is pretty much what it came down to. But please watch that review. We were super excited about talking about it. We've talked about this a couple times. We've started a new show called TV Time. I will tag the latest episode on to the end of this as well. We spent a lot of time talking about
TV.
About TV. Actual TV shows.
Things that are on TV.
And maybe a couple things that are on Netflix. We also talked about the Emmys. So once you get done with this episode, please go give that a watch and watch the White Boy Rick review. Now, we're going to do a review for a movie that came out in June. Because timing!
Yeah, well, there was other stuff in the movie theaters, and I don't know.
We talked about this. There was a couple movies over the summer that kind of fell through the cracks, and Ocean's 8 was one of them. Now, we will talk about this first before we get into our Ocean's 8 review. The original Ocean's 11 with the Rat Pack,
Yes.
filmed in Vegas,
Yes.
is a not very good movie.
It's a fun movie if you like the Rat Pack.
Let me finish. It's not a very good movie. It's an amazing movie when you realize that most of them were not sober for the 8 weeks that they were actually in Vegas filming this movie.
And they played at the Sands all night and then stayed up gambling and drinking and then went to bed at like 7 o'clock in the morning and then stumbled onto set about 3 in the afternoon and did 2 lines and then went out and did it all again. I think Joey Bishop carried the whole movie.
And I believe it's correct. The only time that they are actually all in screen together is when they're all sitting in the church at the funeral.
Yeah.
Spoilers for a 60-year-old movie. And they're all sitting there together. So the only time they're actually all in the movie at the same time.
Yeah, because they had
they like had a
Vegas baby
rearranged and everything, whatever. So then the George Clooney one that Steven Soderbergh did, and George Clooney, Brad Pitt,
Julia Roberts,
Matt Damon, and we got a Grease guy. Is one of my top 5 all-time favorite movies. It's about Vegas. It's a heist movie. I'm in. All stars.
We watch it
cast.
Right before we go to Vegas almost every single time, and we go to Vegas a couple times a year.
Yeah. And so it's probably it's not probably it's my top 5 all-time. 12 doesn't exist. 13 is amazing. It's the other one we watch a bunch. We just haven't seen it as many times because it's newer.
Yep.
So when they announced Ocean's 8 with the all-girl cast with Sandra Bullock and
Kate
Blanchett and Helen Bonham Carter and Rihanna and all that stuff, I was really kind of super hesitant. The trailers, I liked the trailers enough. I mean, they weren't groundbreaking trailers or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I was right at the beginning of let's remake everything with the all-girl cast.
The girl Ghostbusters had just come out, or just
and so I was super hesitant. I like the idea of female-led movies, female-directed movies. I love all that concept, but I don't feel like we need to go rebank everything with the all-girl version or the all-black version, like Black Annie, like that kind of thing. So when they announced this, I was like, So when it came out, we weren't in a rush to go see it, and then we had a free day on Friday because we went and saw White Boy Rick on Thursday. Yep. So we stayed home and we got Chinese food and we drank too much. And we watched the movie, and it's fucking amazing.
It was.
It's so well done. It creeps up to the line of the original Ocean's movie.
Yeah.
You get all the right tropes, you get all the right jokes, but they don't cross the line into doing a full-on remake.
Right. They don't, like... So there's a point in Ocean's 11... Oh, we have a grease guy. So they... are trying to get a grease man, right? So somebody small, who's bendable, who can basically, he ends up squishing himself into this box, and they wheel that box into the vault, and that's how they all get in there. So they go to this Asian acrobatic troupe show,
right? And
they're sitting there watching, and and Brad Pitt, George Clooney says, which guy is it? And Brad Pitt's like, the little Asian guy. Well, they're all little Asian guys. And
it's one of the best looks in the whole movie because George Clooney just kind of leans over like, are you kidding me?
And so
Brad's
they're
like this popcorn.
Because Brad Pitt eats in the entire movie. And, he's like, I'm not really impressed. And they're like up and down the pole and blah, blah, blah. And the guy jumps upside down or something.
He backflips from one pole
to the other, and he's like, oh, we've got a grease man. And Brad Pitt says, we got a grease man. So that whole scene sort of plays out in Ocean's 8. There's an Asian girl who's a sleight of hand.
Pickpocket.
Yeah,
doing
out on the
three-card
street doing
money.
3-card money, and it's they don't say the same words, but it's the same thing.
You know it. If you know Ocean's 11,
Yeah.
you know that's what
Sandra
this scene
Bullock's
is.
like, I don't know, and then she, bloop, 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 and she's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and I lean over, we got a grease man.
Yeah. It's a heist movie, which is awesome.
Yep.
And it's also in New York during the Met Gala. Very few things are actually been done
Yeah,
as a
it's new.
story around
Yeah.
the Met Gala. So telling that story around the Met Gala and then they had a bunch of like celebrity like cameos and stuff
Yeah.
because it's the Met Gala, and so people
Bunch of
are there and
older actresses and models and stuff.
yeah, and Serena Williams is in it. Like they just make a really good point, but they don't play it up. They don't play it up as, look, here's the next person in the movie. It's like the flow makes sense.
Yeah, it's the Met
story
Gala,
makes-
so of course there's going to be famous
Right.
people there, just
Right.
like it's Vegas during a
Right.
big time boxing match. So of course there's going to be famous
Canelo
people
Super
there.
G this weekend, and freaking Will Smith sitting next to Common, sitting
Yeah.
next to, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
there's-
the same
yeah,
thing.
It's the same thing, and the humor lands almost all the time for me.
Yeah.
And the heist, the way they pull the heist off is a heist movie is made or broke by the way the heist actually gets pulled off.
Yeah.
And the heist gets pulled off and it makes complete sense and it's very satisfying at the end. And there's a couple of twists and turns like you have to have in a good heist movie, and they don't overthrow it in your face that this is the all-girl version. It's
Right.
just
It's
her and her
it's
friends,
just
Sandra Bullock and all of her friends. It's pretty
Danny
much what-
Ocean's little sister,
Yeah.
and and she just got out of prison and she's ready to pull a job.
Kate Blanchett playing a version of David Bowie
Yeah.
is kind of pretty much awesome, and I only want to see that now.
Yeah. She totally pulls it off.
Just totally like nails the pantsuit, and her hair's blonde and straight
Yeah.
and like wiry straight, and like it was awesome. We're gonna buy it. It's gonna happen. I don't know why it took us so long to get into it for all of the previous things that we've already talked about.
Right.
so.
And now we actually need to watch the all-girl Ghostbusters because I happened to come in on the end of it, or in the middle of it. I was waiting to go somewhere or something, and I
right.
watched 20 minutes of it, and I audibly laughed out loud like twice. So
yeah.
now we need to watch that too.
It might be on Netflix, but it's I've seen it pop up. The other back to NX, they showed Ghostbusters as
Yeah.
one of the movies that's
Yeah.
going to be on there, so
The
that would be
OG.
kind of cool. So the other thing that we have
Are we
two
going to
more-
rate it?
Oh, we do. I'm gonna do 4.
You're going to give it a 4. Wow. I think 3.25.
All right, you suck.
I really liked it. The only complaint, and I'm going to watch it again, I felt that the con was a little predictable. Like I saw it coming. The first time I watched Ocean's 11, I didn't get it until...
Is that because we know how they pull the cons in the Ocean universe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
That's
fair.
I
That's
got
fair.
it, like, not right at the beginning, but I don't want to say
When they start to pull it off.
when somebody is on their side, I was like, I saw that coming.
Yeah. See, I didn't get that.
Okay.
I got the other one.
All right. Right.
I got the other one.
Yeah.
We're talking about yourselves. I got that one. I understood
Right,
that one. That was
right.
the whole. That was.
Right. So that's the only reason I gave it a 3.25. I loved everybody in it. I loved the movie.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, I just scored it better than White Boy Rick, and I loved White Boy Rick.
I
so,
gave it the same as White Boy Rick.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to watch the Now you know what we gave it.
Still watch the review because we need the clicks. We're going to talk about Mary Poppins. Also something, thank you, we need clicks on. We did Mary Poppins Returns. Mary Poppins Returns
Dun, dun,
for The
dun.
Last Jedi. Dark Knight Returns. I'm just going to come up with all the return versions.
Just go.
Mary Poppins came out. The trailer came out this morning as part of the Good Morning America trailer fest that's going on, and with Disney. I want you to go first about how you felt about it.
So, well, I thought it was okay. He was, he, he's like, you need to go watch this. I am on it. I'm like, okay. And I went and watched it, and I felt like it had all the stuff that the old one had, I don't know if you ever watched Mary Poppins before. We had to watch it for class.
I'd seen it, but it not like where I knew it
Okay.
super well.
Because it kind of came out when I was little, and so I'd seen it a lot, and then we had to watch it for a movie class, and the reason we had to watch it for the movie class is because that was kind of in an era when Disney was the first to do this, was really experimenting with the live action animated in the same shot. They did that with Song of the South, but that movie doesn't exist. And
Fantasia?
No. Bed Knobs and Broomsticks is the other one that they same time that they do a lot of that animation stuff. Right. So that was why we had to watch it. And so there's a lot of that in this trailer.
Right.
And you get to see Emily Blunt sing. She looks very much like Mary Poppins. She sings beautifully.
Yeah, she's got a really nice voice.
You see Dick Van Dyke, so you get that little piece in there. The only thing I was like, there was no Lin-Manuel Miranda singing.
Or dancing.
Yeah, he was in it very...
he's the chimney sweep,
yeah,
right?
He's Dick Van Dyke's character in the first one. And Dick Van Dyke really overshadowed Mary Poppins. I can't remember.
Yeah, I tried to do it earlier.
Is it Mary Tyler Moore? No. Anyway, in the first one, and I just thought that was interesting in the trailer, but I thought it was fine. I liked Pooh, and as you get older, you just start regressing back to your childhood.
There's some truth to that. What I said, I'm going to tag the trailer review on the back end of this, but no, I won't do it because I have to put TV Time and White Boy Rick on there. So go find it. But pretty much what I said in there was I felt like this is just the first one, like that beat for beat. They're just doing the same movie. It's what it feels like. And it also feels like I just saw this story with Christopher Robin 3 months ago.
Well, you didn't.
Okay, I didn't, but I get the idea of...
But that's a very Disney.
It's completely
older Disney concept.
It's a completely older Disney guy, and I'm totally okay with all of that. I just wanted maybe this is. I just wanted to advance.
Yeah, I don't.
And I don't know if that actually is what's going to happen in this or not. But from the trailer itself, it just didn't grab me.
Yeah.
And I liked the first one. I don't go rushing out to see it, but if it's on, I'll sit down and watch it because I find it very entertaining. But it was never made for me, and the new one is definitely not made for me.
Yeah,
we just talked about how I'm super excited about Apostle and Maniac that we talked about on TV Time. Those are nowhere close to what Mary Poppins is, and so it just didn't grab me. It just didn't grab me.
Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't impressed with. I wasn't impressed. I'm a shitty person. I'm sorry.
Well, we knew that.
If you're liking it and you can convince me that this is why it's cool, then I'm totally willing to listen to that because I want it to do well.
Yeah, and I mean,
they moved heaven and earth around this movie.
Right.
Disney did. They made sure that Solo came out in May and shouldn't have. They moved Christopher Robin. They've done all of this stuff to make sure that this movie hits at Christmas.
Julie Andrews, don't flame me in the comments.
There you go. Nice pull. 5, 4, 3.
I want to go see it. I will.
I probably will go see it.
I'll relive my childhood. I don't. Advancing the story was the one that they did about the guy or is a woman, right? That wrote. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
It was about her.
About her and how Walt Disney kind of screwed her over and.
Tom Hanks was Disney.
Played Walt Disney,
and he kept hounding her to let them make the movie. That was advancing the story, and they've already done that.
That's true. That's true. And it didn't get. It got kind of.
It was okay.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it on
Yeah.
like HBO or something.
Yeah. So the last thing we're going to talk about is in a completely different direction. Set photos of Joaquin Phoenix on the set of the Joker movie came out Friday, Saturday, something like that. We got a tweet from Todd Phillips, who's directing the movie, introducing Arthur, and with a picture of Joaquin Phoenix, and then we got some set photos, and so what it looks like now. First off, how do we feel about the way he looks? Kind of frumpy, very thin.
So, this movie is advancing farther than I thought it was at this point. I didn't know they were already on set filming, but okay, cool. And every time I look at those, I think of my microphone is bothering me. It's hitting me in the chin. Now it's hitting me in the mouth. Every time I see those pictures, I think of Cobblepot from Gotham.
You're not the only one who said that today.
It really
multiple people kind of made that same Cobblepot kind of feel to it.
Yep.
The talk is that they're not doing a direct adaptation of The Killing Joke. In the Killing Joke comic, Arthur Fleck is a failed comic.
Okay.
And then because of that, kind of goes on a psycho killing spree that the Joker does, right? And so they're kind of what it sounds like they're doing. They introduced him as Arthur. Todd Phillips did on Twitter, introduced him as Arthur. They show him leaving a talent agency in the photos, and he kind of has that frumpy look and everything. He's supposed to be taking care of his mother in this movie, so it mirrors The Killing Joke, but it also mirrors The King of Comedy, which was done by Martin Scorsese. Failed comic, gets obsessed with somebody else and starts going after them. Guy takes care of his mother. So it's kind of, it looks, what it feels like right now from what everybody's saying and what we know, because we don't really know for sure exactly what's going on, because they are, even though we got these set photos and stuff like that, they're being very hush-hush on what's going on, right?
Right. But it was smart on their part to release these set photos because, like I said, I didn't know they were this far. I mean, they've just been announcing people, and it's like, okay, it's Warner Brothers, DC. They don't know what they're doing right now. Well, obviously, they've actually moved forward. They're working on this movie. So I think that's smart on their part to kind of show, hey, we're actually, I know we've thrown a lot of stuff at you, but this is actually happening.
Yeah. And the one thing they've been consistent with is this is not within the, what are they calling it now? The films of the DC world.
The DCFU?
The DCFU. The world of the DC. The world of DC.
I don't know. They've changed it 15 times, just like everything else.
Well, okay, the DCEU was never really their official thing.
Somebody just went then with it was the DCFU, and everybody's like,
I don't think they actually... Did you read something there? And then Roxy Stryer, who works for DC All Access, or what? It's some DC show or whatever. She said today on Collider Live that they are going with the world of DC for their film stuff.
Okay.
Now, again, that wasn't official from the DC film group,
right?
But it is it is what they've kind of been using in the marketing,
right?
So,
they need to pick something and go with it because hashtags, people.
Yeah. Yeah, we get a lot of traffic off of putting in hashtag Star Wars or Doctor Who or Netflix or whatever. We
get
a lot of traffic
off that. And if you keep changing your name every 5 minutes, nobody's gonna.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just dilutes it.
But they talked about with this one is it is going to be a standalone outside of the world of DC connective tissue movies.
Right.
If this is true, then this is The Killing Joke. This is Batman Year One. This is The Dark Knight Returns. It is, we have this overlaying Batman story. We have this overlaying Superman story. You have this Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. We have all those standalone overall stories for each of those characters, and then we have these mashups for the Justice League. But then Frank Miller says, I want to do a version where we kill off everybody, and they come in and say, okay, cool, here's a one-off, it's an Elseworlds, it has no connective to anything else, and let's go forward. If that's what they're going to do with the movies, I love this concept, because then you could go super dark with these standalone ones, and then bring some of the positive stories with the overall Justice League story arc.
Yeah.
You can make Superman the wholesome guy and stuff like that.
Maybe they almost need to do this Wonder Woman, do this Aquaman. What else did they? Oh, Venom, right?
Venom's Sony. It's Marvel.
Oh, Sony. Okay.
We have Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and
Shazam.
Shazam.
So those are good.
And the script apparently for Suicide Squad 2 is done.
Does anybody want a Suicide Squad 2? And then just give all that a rest, right? I mean, Ben Affleck's out for a while, and who knows what's going on with Henry Cavill. And so just give all that a rest. And
and do these one-offs.
And do these for a little bit. And then maybe revisit all that. Maybe not. I don't know.
We talked about this when we had the Pop Culture Cult discuss the Henry Cavill issue, and we talked about it within that one that they just need a single voice to come out and say, "Here's the big board of fun, and this is what we're doing from here to 2025."
Yeah.
And we're not the El Rancho, El Capitan. Rent out El Capitan, do what Kevin Feige did, and
I wonder at this point if it's better to just kind of distance themselves from that whole thing for just a little bit, and kind of do some of this other stuff and get some goodwill and some fans back.
Yeah.
And then revisit that in a little while.
You know, as much as we've talked about it on this show and other shows have talked about it, that kind of maybe is what they're doing.
Maybe
they're not really being very public about the stuff that they're not already committed to.
Yeah.
So they're not talking about the future. They're not talking about what's going on next. They're not talking about Henry Cavill leaving or Ben Affleck leaving or Flashpoint or anything like that. None of that's been public. The only things we know are Shazam, Aquaman, Wonder Woman.
And now apparently the Joker.
And the Joker, which is going to be an Elseworld standalone kind of thing.
Right.
So, but out of that, I'm super excited to see this. I want it to be really good. And Joaquin Phoenix is always a win.
Yep. We like him.
So that's our thoughts this week. Do you guys excited about the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix? Are you going to get into the NX? We're going to go watch it right now because we got to finish Iron Fist. And everything else is going on in the pop culture world. Please subscribe to this channel like I've already asked you on more than one occasion. You've lasted 40 minutes. It's nothing to hit the button. It's free. Take 3. Also share with your friends. You can get a hold of us too on our social media network. Shosho. SHOCHO.
It's the big Shosho.
The Shosho. Social media network. Pop Culture Cult on Facebook. Pop Culture Cult 1 on Instagram, and at pop_cult1 on Twitter. Follow us on all those platforms. I have some things in the works, so please follow us there for all new kinds of information. It might have to do with these guys. And until the next time, good night now.